this coming Saturday and Friday at 8 p.m. at Centennial Concert Hall, the WSO is going to be presenting Edouard Lalo's Symphonie Espagnole with featured soloist, concertmaster Gwen Hoebig, who is now joining me here in the Diamond Lane on Classic 107. Welcome to the studio, Gwen.
I'm so pleased to be here.
I'm so pleased you're here. It's such a great honor. Sometimes I have to pinch myself a little bit that I get to have the highest echelon of musicians in Winnipeg and kind of in Canada in my studio, which is crazy.
Yeah, but you're part of it.
Well, let's hope that
You're
that I
part of
can
it.
sneak in there.
I know you as a singer, not as a broadcaster.
Well, I've been very lucky to get to perform with you, but more often I get to see you as concertmaster of the WSO. Also, I get to see you as part of the Winnipeg Chamber Music Society with your husband, David Morose, as well as the first chairs of the WSO. It's remarkable that you get to make so much music and still you stand in front of the orchestra and solo the bejeebus out of something like this. So tell us first how you feel about the Lalo. Like, how do you feel about the work?
I'm super excited about it. It is such a fun piece, and it's like perfect for this climate because right now everybody just wants to be in someplace warm and sunny and south, and this is totally the musical description of that climate.
Excellent.
It's so Spanish, and it's got lots of rhythm and lots of fire and lots of fun, and it's just really going to be an awesome experience, I hope, for me, but it will be for the audience for sure.
Excellent. Well, tell us how you began as a violinist. Now, I've done a bit of research and reading, of course. You started as a young one. Both you and your brother are quite musical. Your parents are musical as well. Tell us about that.
Well, my mother is first and foremost a singer. She's still very much alive, although she's getting on, and is retired now. My father was a violinist and conductor, but never professionally because, of course, he grew up in Germany, and of course that was not sort of a very practical thing to do in those times. And so his primary profession in Canada was as a pastry chef.
Amazing.
So that's kind of weird, but
it's delicious and creative.
But then when I grew up, when I was about 12, he stopped doing that and was a music teacher and guided my brother and myself through our teenage years with great authority. And we both ended up as musicians. So there you go.
But that great authority had led you to study both earning your bachelor's and your master's at Juilliard. Is that
correct?
Right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Also led to winning many competitions, including one that I have recently joined the ranks of the winners of the Eckergrammate competition.
I was the first string winner in 1977. That's like a long time ago.
And that happens every year in Brandon still. Like, I mean, this is a competition that is still very healthy, promoting Canadian new music.
Thank goodness, right?
I know. Oh, it's so wonderful. And happens in Brandon, so close by, which is also great. Now, beyond your competitive successes in the 70s, and you were also concertmaster of the Orchestre des Jeunes de
Orchestre
Québec.
des Jeunes de Québec, yes.
Yeah.
So that was what I did when I left Juilliard. It was a little bit controversial because I am not Québécois.
Oh,
but
scandal, Gwen, scandal.
I was actually in the letters to the editor of Le Devoir, the paper, that it was not awarded to a Québécois violinist. But I did it for 2 years, and my second year of being as concertmaster of that orchestra, then I was also in the Montreal Symphony, where I was for 3 years.
That's brilliant.
Before I got the job here.
And who was conducting the OSM at the time?
Oh, it was Dutoit.
Oh.
Charles Dutoit. So
How
a
does
lot
it
of those
work?
recordings you play, I actually am somewhere buried in the violin section.
That's amazing, Gwen.
It was quite a crazy time. I mean, we went into the recording studios 3 times a year for 2 to 3, 4 days sometimes.
Imagine.
Up in Saint Eustache and in this old church where you could see the cannonballs from the Canadian-American War. And it was just like, the history was really amazing.
Incredible. That was a different time.
It was. It really was.
I wish we could be there again. Anyway,
Oh, no.
Well,
Gotta
no?
look forward.
Okay, look forward. Okay, so good. Looking forward. Speaking of your looking forward, so you joined the ranks of the WSO as concertmaster, a very young concertmaster.
Well, not as young as
Well,
I
but
should have been.
well, no, not as young as you should have been. Like, concertmaster of an orchestra is such a prestigious position. I mean, because you are next in line, you know, from conductor, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit, for those of our listeners who aren't necessarily familiar with what the term concertmaster means, could you tell us what your role is in the orchestra?
Well, my role is the leader of the playing musicians. I do not conduct. In previous times, before Mozart and Beethoven, there were not conductors. The concertmaster was the conductor. But that has changed. As music became more complicated, it wasn't practical anymore. And so my job is to assist the conductor when necessary in helping the orchestra understand what he or she might request them to do. I also prepare all the bow markings of the upper strings, so the first violin, second violins, and violas, up to months beforehand, which then go to our librarian and they get copied into the parts. So I will sit down and coordinate the parts as best as I can and what I think makes musical sense. Sometimes they get changed in rehearsals, often they don't. But especially when Alexander's on the podium, because I pretty much know what he will want.
Right.
When it's guest conductors, then there's usually something that gets changed for some reason or another because they'll have a slightly different musical vision. And so my job is to be almost a liaison between the conductor and the musicians of the orchestra.
Gwen Hoebig, concertmaster of the WSO, here in the Diamond Lane on Classic 107. We're talking about both her role as concertmaster, but yes, also as soloist. So what do you find is the biggest difference between being concertmaster and soloist in any given concert? Because I've seen you as soloist with the WSO on numerous occasions, as well as with other ensembles in town. So tell us how you have to interact differently, perhaps with the orchestra, with the conductor, with the audience.
And with my own playing.
And with your own playing.
Because it is quite a different situation to be standing up and playing. Because when I sit in my chair as concertmaster, once in a while I have to stick out. But the bulk of the time I don't, and I shouldn't. And it's not a good idea if I do. But when I'm playing as a soloist, then ideally the audience is going to hear every last note I play. So the preparation is quite different. Also, the physicality of standing and playing as opposed to sitting and playing is quite different. For instance, if I have a big solo in the orchestra, I will actually practice it sitting down.
Okay.
Whereas normally I practice standing up.
Okay.
So the physicality, the whole headspace of being one person to a part, which our principal and all of our wind players do all the time.
Yeah.
So they're much more like soloists than those of us in the string section are.
It's very interesting even for me, not being an orchestral musician, still knowing the bare inner workings of what an orchestra does. It's always fascinating to hear the little clicks of the machine and really know how it works. So what else? What else do we need to talk about? We need to talk about the concert on Saturday and Friday. Sibelius is also on the program. Is that right?
Sibelius Fifth Symphony.
Okay.
Yes, and a Chinese piece.
Oh, okay.
To
and
open the concert.
We have a guest conductor as well.
We do. I just met her. Her
Okay.
name is Mei-An Chen, and she's from Taiwan. I don't know much about her other than she tells me that she knows the violin part to the Lalo because she is a violinist. So I'm assuming she probably has known it a lot longer than I have.
Okay. When did you start working on this work?
I started really seriously working on it last June.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
so this is an unusual piece for me in that it's not something I played as a child. Most concertos that I present are things I learned as a student. This one, I played the first movement in one master class in New York as a student.
Wow.
That's it. So it's really been a huge project.
Wow.
And I'm looking forward to hearing what she has to say about it because she obviously will have a lot to say about it.
It's lovely that you still have this brilliant curiosity about your music and about making music and about discovering these new colors and new stories in it. As a pedagogue, you're also quite active.
Yes.
You're part of the Rosamunda Summer Festival that happens here in Manitoba. Yes. Also, you often go to Calgary to Mount Royal University for their summer programs. Are you doing that this summer?
Well, yes and no, because we're actually not going to be in Calgary. The Morningside Music Bitch program, which I was one of the founding co-directors of, I'm no longer a co-director. It has gone on now to a brilliant violist who is both Chinese and Canadian. The program was started as a collaboration for teenagers from China and Canada. Most of the years that we were leading it up until this past summer, it has been in China, or in Calgary, sorry. Okay. For the 10th anniversary, we went to China, and then 3 years later, we spent the summer in Poland,
wow.
which was very cool. Next summer, they are running the program in Beijing. So I will not be there for the full 4 weeks. I will just be there for 2 weeks. But I'm also doing some work in Australia.
Oh my gosh.
Before that. And then we're going to have a little family holiday in Bali.
Oh my gosh, Gwen.
I know. I've never been across. I've never been over the equator, so I am so excited about this.
Oh, Gwen, our world traveling concertmaster, Gwen Hoebig of the WSO, she's going to be featured Friday and Saturday nights, 8 p.m. at Centennial Concert Hall, playing Edouard Lalo's Symphonie Espagnole. It is going to be fireworks. And then she's going to go off and travel the world before she comes back for her 30th season with the WSO.
It's just amazing.
We are so excited to have you here, and as a Winnipeg music goer, I'm honored to have you in my studio. I'm so pleased to get to see you play so often, both with the WSO and the Chamber Music Society especially, and it's lovely to have you. I'm really excited for this weekend. I hope you are too.
I am, and thank you so much, Sarah.
No, it's my pleasure. So if you need tickets or more information, go to the WSO website, wso.ca, or you can go to our website, classic107.com. You can also call the WSO box office at 949-3999. Gwen, thank you again. We are going to play a little Lalo. Instead of, unfortunately, we don't have a recording of you playing Lalo, but we do have a little chantage vié with the Orchestre Symphonique de Montréal and Charles Dutoit, with whom you played. So his 28th opus, La Guitare, is what we will play you out on. It has been a pleasure to have you. We will see you this weekend.